Hello everybody, I'm here with Alvin Chung, art director for Ubisoft, and I'm going to ask him a couple questions, and he's extending his hand out to help me out a little bit, give me some advice. So Alvin, looking at the entire industry now, how do you currently see it?
Now, I mean, it's kind of an exciting time. Obviously, with the new consoles that are out, or VR, and there's a lot of potential with VR. I don't think it's quite a viable market yet, but I mean, it's something I'm interested in only because I'm a hobbyist and I'm into 3D. I don't think the general consumer is into VR. I think it'd be hard pressed to find someone that would want to wear something large on their head and do that at home. I think there's a lot of potential there for the arcade, like bringing back arcades,
like Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, pretty much. So. I mean, something they don't have to own, something they could just try out. Right? So, I mean, it's an exciting time. There's new machinery, it's powerful machines, graphics are getting better and better. So. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a good time.
Yeah. All right.
It's a good time for consumers.
For consumers, I could definitely see that.
For creators, the market's very. I mean, it's very specific now. You have big games like Call of Duty, and you have these big blockbusters that every company wants to make. And so, the smaller, creative, more innovative type games they're probably being pushed to, kind of PSN or Xbox Live or just mobile. Something innovative and creative, I don't think would come out from the console.
Well, how do you feel about what was it called? Xbox has that indie game program for all the private developers. How do you feel about that?
No, it's great. I mean, so PlayStation has something similar as well. It's great. I mean, You'll introduce a lot of new innovative games to the market. I don't think it'll. I mean, it's not a platform for like big block. I mean, you have the big blockbusters, and you have the indie types.
Yeah.
So they're just two completely different, even demographics. I would say a Call of Duty player isn't gonna play Grow Home, or they're not gonna play Valiant Hearts or something.
Yeah.
So.
They're looking for more of the creative thrill.
Like the guys that play Madden, I wouldn't even consider them a video game player. They're just football enthusiasts, right? So they're not necessarily into video games. It just happens to be a video game that falls in line with their interests. So those are those types. So
yeah, well, it was kind of a shock for me not to see the new Call of Duty at E3.
Oh, I suppose, but I think. There's nothing new they're going to introduce, really. It's going to be the same game. So as far as, I mean, if it wasn't there, I'm not surprised in that sense. But when they release it, I think it'll still sell the same because that market's still there. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to bring as far. See, that type of game, like Madden, Call of Duty, they're not there for innovation. They're there to cater to people that like those games already. So.
Unfortunately. Like Call of Duty used to be really into the whole innovative thing, but I don't know what happened along the lines. All right. How would you forecast the industry growing in the next 5 to 10 years?
There'll be a little bit of VR stuff, but that's not mass market. As far as growth, I mean, when you say growth,
specifically for like the art industry, like what kind of new talents, say utilizing the HoloLens that's going to be getting put out.
HoloLens is kind of interesting. I think that has probably more potential than just be a regular VR. Especially now with Minecraft. I think if people weren't into Minecraft before, they're kind of interested in now. I think they can see this potential. As far as art, I mean, art-wise, I mean, it doesn't affect us. I mean, if anything, it just, we're still using the same tools. So.
Well, I mean, would you see maybe ZBrush or Sculptress being utilized with something like that?
Oh, sure, for VR, yeah, that's already been done now. So you can buy something now and actually use uh, something like a sculptress and model in VR right now.
Okay.
Game artists don't do it. I would say that's more of an enthusiast thing because it's still much more efficient for an artist to use, ZBrush or Sculptress from a Wacom tablet than it is to do this. So
yeah,
the resolution isn't there and the speed isn't there yet.
The pen and paper feels nice.
Yeah, and then but for enthusiasts, it's kind of neat. For kids, I mean, I've gone to conventions where kids get wowed by it, and they're just, it's virtual sculpting, right? So, I mean, ZBrush and Sculptress are huge for, I would say, the 3D printing market, because now it's introduced. Before, to make really quality action figures, you had a really good traditional sculptor, but now if you can just 3D print it using your ZBrush sculpt, it's introduced a whole another market or to the consumer, where normal sculpting tool was really slow, but then now you can get even more detail from your ZBrush sculpt.
Yeah.
So,
all right, that makes sense.
Traditional pen and paper stuff, that'll still be there, but I mean, even now, concept art, I know so many concept artists now that they don't draw pen and paper. Everything's just complete digital.
Yeah.
And some of it's not even just Photoshop. Some of it's just straight 3D. They don't need to model efficiently. They just need to model enough so that they can convey their ideas. So yeah, I've seen a lot of really good concept arts where it's either photo bash in combination with some 3D, and as far as traditional painting and paper stuff, it's still going to be there, but that's not necessary anymore. I'm not going to say it's going away, but I would say it's not necessary anymore, because I've seen some good work from just photo bashing.
Yeah. Okay. How do you speculate the industry in the next 25 years? Describe how users will consume media in the next 25 years.
In 25 years? Oh, you're just talking science fiction now.
Yeah, it's speculating. So,
I mean, I would say by then, in 25 years, they're probably gonna have photorealistic stuff. I mean, VR we might not have the huge headgear anymore.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so things like Google Glass would be so much more refined, I think, so things like that. So I think augmented reality will probably be really prevalent in everything. Not just games, just regular entertainment, getting your news, just even just maybe replacing your phone or something. That's how I see it.
Yeah, all right. That was just kind of, to get us thinking more of how it might be once we're in the industry type question. You know what I mean? I hope to be in the industry before 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, I'm sure the techniques will be different. I mean, now they're photo scanning a bunch of stuff. I mean, this whole scene could be photo scanned now. It's a little sad as an artist to see, because I'm all about stylized art. I'm not really into photorealistic stuff. I can do it, but it's not my passion.
Yeah.
And I would say that's not the passion of most artists that want to get in the industry, but I would say that's a huge part of the industry now. Gaming games like Call of Duty, everything that's photorealistic. That's it's more mass market.
What were the most interesting games that you've had the privilege of working on?
I mean, God of War was great because they did a good job of defining what was epic. They did things to a really grand scale. I think they weren't afraid to push type of design. The best example is just when the player is playing on top of another larger player, which is the level. The level is a giant character, and that's just that's not normally done, but it's literally just God of War 3, and Ascension, Kratos, you're playing on a giant character, and there was no tricks to it at all. I mean, you're playing, you literally placed Kratos onto another character, and that character was the level.
Yeah. And constantly moving.
Yeah, so that's. I think God of War was great. Something early on called Fear Effect, which was, I would say, it was kind of like Resident Evil, where all the backgrounds were pre-rendered. It was very story-driven. That was really fun to work on, actually. It's kind of this cyberpunk, kind of Neo-Tokyo, Blade Runner-ish world. I think it was kind of ahead of its time. That was for the PS1, PS2 days, so that's a while ago. PS2? PS2, yeah.
I think I remember playing that, actually. I think it was PlayStation 2. Pretty sure. But, what are the different jobs a game artist can do in today's society and game industry?
Yeah, aside from just characters, environments, and there's concept art, there's also VFX, which is special effects. There's also a whole department called technical art, where someone has to, take care of all the technical aspects of getting the art into the game. Like, I'm trying to think of an example that's understandable to people outside the industry, but so for a character, for an animator to animate the character, they need a skeleton. So someone has to build that skeleton to match that character and then bind it to that character, and that's usually a technical artist. So, I mean, they're technically called a rigger, but that's one aspect of technical art.
Okay.
Another aspect of technical art is shaders and materials. So in order for me to paint something on the environment or the character, I need someone to create a shader that can be applied onto that character. Kind of. It's not actually the paint, but it's actually. So the artist would paint a character, but someone has to create the actual paint. So that would be the technical art. So that's another aspect of it. So technical art embodies a lot of things that just, it doesn't sound like it's very artistic, but it's related to art. Without them, art wouldn't be able to do the work. So
that's understandable.
So there's a lot of aspects, and there's also lighting artists. There's some companies that kind of employ the same kind of methodology as the film, as when they break down the scene. So there's a lighter. There's someone that just, all they do is, after this whole park is built, they come in there and just start lighting things. Because things need to be, lighting in games is really important. It's actually more important, I would say. It's more difficult than movies, because not only does it need to look good, you need to be able to lead the player, draw attention to certain areas, so the players can be drawn there without having the giant arrows that go here. So things like that. So lighting is a big aspect. I mean, to break it down, the basics are the character art, environment art, lighting, effects, guys that make explosions, animation, and technical art.
Technical art? Okay.
So there's I'm sure I'm missing some subset of something in each of those categories, but I would say, in general, there's a lot of aspects of art that people don't even think about.
Yeah. Well, I was watching a conference that Wacom actually did. They were showing their new Cintiq 27Q HD tablet, and they were showing it off, and they were I think it was Wizards of the Coast was working with them for this conference, and I love some of their artwork. Wizards of the Coast, beautiful, and they were going over, how like you were saying, how fundamental lighting is just in that. Just because you can, make beautiful sculpts and everything, you're not really going to be able to show how the color is coming from certain areas unless you got the light factor down right.
Sure.
So, yeah, I definitely understand that part a lot. What skills would you say are fundamental for an aspiring game artist such as myself to be successful in the game industry?
And again, I mean, that depends on what aspect of art you want to get into.
Mhm.
So, in general, I mean, it's to be an environment artist. I mean, just really strong sculpting and texturing skills, good sense of color. I mean, these are like basic art skills, I would say. I mean, you don't necessarily have to draw. I mean, personally, when I look for a candidate, I like seeing drawing skills, but that's not necessary anymore. I've known some artists that couldn't draw at all, but they're brilliant in 3D. But so in that sense, just as long as they have a good sense of weight, scale, they definitely need to, for me, I think they need to know how to sculpt, whether it's mud balls or ZBrush. I mean, that's my personal preference. I've seen some, I mean, it depends on the studio. I mean, sculpting isn't as a big deal as some others. I mean, especially if you on a game for Call of Duty, really, you're just going to take a photo of something and just turn that into a 3D asset. Whereas the studios that I've worked for, I mean, we would build it from scratch because it's cleaner and it reads better. I mean, my personal philosophy is that way. I mean, as game artists, or just as artists in general, you're supposed to make real life better. I didn't get in the industry to create something that's already existing. I got in the industry to make something that doesn't exist. So
yeah, that's pretty much the same reason I'm in it. You know, just the fact that you can take the borders of what we understand and what we perceive. This is just how I view it as an artist, period. And you can observe how things are, but you can make them better. You can make them more astounding, just more imaginative, and colorful, brighter, darker.
Yeah, even photography, when you're taking photos of real life, I mean, they're making real life look better when their composition and lighting, if they do any post-process stuff to it.
Well, I've seen that video that you posted on LinkedIn after you accepted me on LinkedIn, of the people that were walking on the canyons and the mountains and all the big rocks and everything, all the rock formations. And you were like, makes me want to get up and explore the world.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I would have to say, I started off, well, that's not true. I started off with character artists, and then I got to environment. But I would say, in all the research I've done for environments that I've created, I mean, it's kind of inspired me to travel more. So I've either traveled in those locations, like I just, when I go out, I'm always looking at the environment around me just to see what I can capture and put in the game or something. So.
Okay. I think I only have a couple more questions here. Next one's a long one. What advice would you recommend to a new graduate in game art to get started in the game industry, such as advice on resumes, portfolios, cover letters, internships, and apprenticeships? Any other advice would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, well, I mean, if you can get an internship before you graduate, yeah, that'd be great. As far as resumes, I mean, just something clean and, really your portfolio says everything.
Yeah.
Right? So,
so my one girl.
And depending on what aspect you're getting into, I would prefer quality over quantity. I don't care about. What I don't like is seeing unfinished work in someone's portfolio, and to me, it's just. Actually, it just tells me that you don't know how to finish it. So it actually hurts the artist. I mean, if it's a great sculpt, great. But if it's something that's half-assed, it really just hurts you. So really, I would put quality over quantity. And the length, if you're going to put a reel together, less than 2 minutes. I've seen reels that were 3, 4, or 5 minutes. And the length of it actually hurts the student or candidate, I think. Obviously, put all your best stuff in the beginning, and but hopefully it's all consistent. I mean, everything's great. There is no bad piece. personally, I like to see process as well. So if I can see on someone's portfolio their process of how they built something. So either it starts with sketches or blockouts, and then I see the final product. That's great.
Kind of like how they do that with say I bought a collector's book. You know, I bought the collector's book for Elder Scrolls Online. The Witcher, I love The Witcher. Fantastic. Well, it came with an art book. It shows all the sketches and everything in it, and how they developed the characters. Several ideas they had for different characters, and then they showed the final 3D molds that they had for them. I thought, and I've learned a lot from those art books. So I can see where you're coming from.
Definitely, I like to see process. I mean, it doesn't have to be from the very beginning, because you obviously want to keep it as brief too. You don't want to make it too long, but yeah, I like to see process. I like to understand what the artist is thinking when they're building something. But again, I mean, I can't emphasize more enough just quality over quantity and things in context. So I think we spoke about this earlier too during the emails, but you have to separate personal art with things that are for the industry. Things that has to be in context, because I've seen a lot of personal art, which is great, and if I can't put it in context, it's hard for me to judge.
Yeah.
Like, well, if it's, for example, I mean, I've seen a portfolio where someone had a bunch of really nicely rendered rabbits. And I mean, this is awesome, but you know, I don't know what to tell you. These are really awesome, but they don't relate to. It shows I can see some of the skill, but it doesn't relate to the industry, so I can't really judge it. So it's useless, basically.
Okay.
If it was a section in your personal art, that's great, but then that should happen when it's like professional art, professionally geared art.
Okay.
I mean, that's my advice. It's fine if you want to show what your personal interests are, but you have to show that you can do things outside your own interests as well.
All right. We already covered this question, so we'll get to this one. What hurdles have you come across on your path into the industry?
My personal hurdles were just kind of finishing things to put in the portfolio. I struggled with that. I mean, you have to have a lot of self-motivation. You have to just finish things.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's the biggest hurdle I've seen. They're all usually personal, I think. Really, I mean, if you're... And I'm not sure what aspect of game you're trying to get into. Is it concept or 3D?
I'm actually leaning more towards 3D. Maybe a little. I'm learning both concept and 3D because I do find both of them very fundamental. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's...
No, I mean, I could see each of them helping each other. Again, just going back to once you find your focus, you have to understand they do help each other, but at the same time. So if I was looking for a 3D artist, and he did awesome stuff that was applicable to concept, but not actual in-game assets, because you have to be built a certain way. It has to be built cleanly, efficiently, so it runs in the engine, right?
Yeah.
If it looks cool, that's great. But if I find that, and I can tell usually if it'll run in the game or not, just by looking at the level of detail. Then it hurts you as a 3D artist, unless you want to go into concept and you're saying the 3D art you're doing is for concept, which is great. You just have to prepare the work differently, I think. But so that's a good point. Another thing so if you're gonna be a 3D artist, make sure it's applicable to running a game. It's not just cool.
You gotta watch your pixel count.
Things like that, yeah. Number of textures, your poly count, things like that. It'd be nice to see, I guess, your texture maps to see how you lay out your UVs. That's really important. And I've seen really just poorly laid out UVs, and that kills maybe after this I can show you one of the tests I usually give candidates. And that will probably give you an idea of what I'm asking for. It has all I've set all the parameters of what they should be looking for when they're doing the test, and that generally should tell the artist what how to build something correctly. Okay, so.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you very much
Yeah, no problem.
for your time.
Yeah.
We hit all our questions.